Also in that year, the birth of the World Wide Web. So Tim Berners-Lee, a British person, by the way, introduced the concept of the World Wide Web while I was working at Cairn, forever changing global communications, which is nice. So yeah, we'd obviously had the internet. Nah, it's Cairn. I always call it Cairn. It's just the way I pronounce it. Yeah, we obviously had the internet before then, but that was mostly for like universities and research institutions and stuff that were linked together directly. But the World Wide Web allowed for the creation of web pages and really laid the foundations for the internet as we know it today.
So really, we can blame all of social media on Britain.
We can. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that.
Sorry about that.
I mean, I was going for a positive spin on it, you know, like a Brit basically invented the modern world. But yeah, sure, Muller, bring us down, why don't you?
It's our fault.
Also, yeah, Freddie Mercury passed away from AIDS, prompted widespread global mourning. Not global warming, but global mourning. Also, that year, so the invention of the very first webcam. It was at the University of Cambridge. They were inspired to create the webcam because they were doing an experiment with coffee levels, apparently, in a pot, and they wanted to monitor them, but they didn't want to have to sit and watch it. And so they set up a webcam to watch it for them while they were at their desks. There you go, first ever webcam. Also, it was the release of the Apple PowerBook. The very first PowerBook was released in 1991, which actually gave us trackball for the first time and palm rests, which was lovely.
Kind of like when the origin of any invention is like, oh, I need to solve this rather stupid, mundane problem. It's like, dude, you just revolutionized the whole world. Like, huh? What?
Never thinking where it would go, eh? It's like, this could be applied to other things.
The stupid version of that is like, I need to store my ex-girlfriends in a pocket dimension. It's like, Lex, you just created pocket dimensions.
Yeah. Who would put something like that in their movie, Muller?
I just made that up. That was
only a complete retard. In the world of movies, though, by far the biggest of the year was Terminator 2. That brought in $520 million.
Legendary.
Pretty damn respectable for 30 years ago. In second place was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which I've still got a soft spot for to this day.
Yeah.
Even though Kevin Costner's a fucking block of wood in it, don't care. It makes it better. Beauty and the Beast, interestingly, came in at 3, and that was actually the first animated film to get nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But it was the year that also gave us Hook, the Robin Williams Japan movie, Silence of the Lambs, JFK, Naked Gun 2.5, The Addams Family, Cape Fear, the remake of the 1960s one, and Hot Shots. Again, a pretty wild mix of movies, but I love it. Pretty much all of those movies are fantastic.
Something for everybody, you know?
There really is. Yeah, there really is. And yeah, again, as we always say, like most of these films that you see in the top 10 are usually like all-time classics and still beloved to this day, so nice. I like it. Anyway, that was 1991. How about we skip forward to 2026? Muller, does that sound okay?
No, do we have to? Do we have to go there?
It's better in 91, but anyway, let's bring in the guy who lived through it. Yeah. Oh, wait, actually, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Anyway, welcome Cole Hauser. Also, welcome
He was
Gary.
there. He's old.
He doesn't look old.
Let me tell you, I don't wish I was back in 1990. Well, that was me.
That was me.
I went to prison in 1991, so I'd rather
so
it
not
be
very
2026. Yeah.
I know your personal life wasn't great, but in terms of the actual
Oh, the
country
movies
and
were
world,
still awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movies that I
Better.
missed. Yeah, it was great.
You just let the site down, Gary, by messing up. Okay,
I did.
it's fine. I can deal. Anyway, let's bring in the rest of our guests. Please welcome Film Comics Explained and the Little Platoon. Welcome to all you guys. Good to have you all on board.
Hello.
Nice to have you here. Well, I can say that we've now assembled our bar of chuds. We are, well, does this count as like the manosphere that we've got here? Because according to certain articles that we're going to read shortly, it kind of is, apparently. Which is
You'd almost
amazing.
take a letter each, but not quite. With the 6 of us, nearly there.
Yeah. Well, the first and most obvious thing, I guess, to tackle is Supergirl and its box office, because it ain't doing so hot, much to everyone's non-surprise. According to global box office here, it sank to the number 3 spot on its first Wednesday, making only 2.1 at the domestic box office, 2.1 million. And it's now tracking, apparently, to slump 70% domestically in its second weekend.
That's impressive from such a low base as well. So, fair enough if it had made a load of money on its first weekend, 70% drop. But if you've made no money and you still have a 70% drop, that's not a good sign.
No.
You have to ask, like, how far can it fall now? And apparently, very far.
I'd be curious to know if there's a way to, like, figure out the numbers for just how much that movie has been referenced and discussed as a ratio versus its box office, and if it's one of the worst in history.
I think it is. It might be. Morbius might be close.
Yeah, Morbius, maybe.
It's been a strange one, right? Because my assumption was, when we first heard about it, I thought it's going to be a largely irrelevant movie. It'll be, passably okay, probably kind of dull. And it just won't make much of an impact one way or the other. It'll probably flop at the box office, but nobody's going to care that much. But man, has it blown up since its release. It's been insane. I haven't seen this kind of, like, reaction from the internet since Snow White last year.
Acolyte?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think it's more similar to Acolyte, and I think it's like a Snow White. Like, Snow White was unbelievable. And that thing broke containment like 2 years before it came out. But this thing did break containment, and we saw like Tim Pool making videos, and I'm like, oh, wow. And Fox News reporting on it, getting it wrong, of course. But it's been great. Loved every minute of it.
It's been open season on it, I think, and it's been a bit of a feed-in frenzy on YouTube. I think, honestly, if you added up all the revenue that's been generated by this movie from all the various channels that have covered it, it probably could have financed the movie all over again. Easily.
Yeah.
It's been absurd.
And what's like especially funny, because even in stuff like The Acolyte, you'll get the people being like, "This is actually good." Like, you guys just hate it, but like, the Supergirl's got barely anyone willing to put even a finger out to defend it. It's like,
oh,
nah.
Mahler, I promise you, in a couple of weeks when it hits VOD, we'll have that 72 hours of, I don't know what you guys were talking about. This is pure cinema.
Yeah, we're trying to convince you it's shitty. When look at this, look at these 4 images that I specifically took a very special time. Like, must be a good film.
I've seen like 1 or 2 people do that already, but most of it tends to be like the people quote unquote defending the movie are like, the movie was really bad, but we didn't like it for the good reasons, whereas the Chuds, they didn't like it for the wrong reasons. We're not like them. I know I only gave it a 4, but I'm not like Gary, so you know.
Yeah, it's basically Angry Joe, where he's making himself go to it time after time in the hopes that he'll find something good to defend about it, and it's like, it's just getting worse for him, I think. You know, like, I think he'll end up probably doing 3 or 4 reviews of this film, just like trying to find something. Slowly driving himself insane.
I was going to say, because I remember, like, I'm close to Gary's age, but, you know, for the 1984 Supergirl, for the 1984 Supergirl, I didn't remember any negativity towards that movie, because I remember growing up, I wanted to see Supergirl after Superman 3.
Yeah. I think it was like, because it did flop at the box office, but I don't think there was any furor around like the casting of Supergirl or anything. I don't think people were mad that there was a female superhero. I think they just kind of ignored it because it wasn't a very good movie.
When it did flop, was like all of the media absolutely swamped with people saying that this tells us that all men are sexist, evil, horrible pigs, and therefore, you know, it tells us a lot about society? Or did people just say, well, that wasn't very good and move on?
Yeah.
Well, we've got it now. Yeah.
It was the early 80s, so it was more like, well, we shouldn't have women star in movies. This is proof.
There's a great tweet that I saw here that I think just sums up the situation we were in. Why do people hate women superhero movies? And they reference the 3 worst possible examples you could give
me.
Yeah.
Madam Web is a saint.
It's unironically awesome, yeah.
It is
a great drinking movie.
I own a copy. I own a physical copy of that movie. I like it so much.
Is it
the thing
4K?
is, I would probably, if you asked me, gun to my head, I'd probably rather rewatch Madam Web than Supergirl. I'd probably give it a higher rating as well, because there's fun to be had with it.
I'd watch 2 Madam Webs before 1 Supergirl.
Yes. I'd watch.
That's just
I'd watch too.
hilarious from beginning to end. It's great. I love the bit. There's so many, just like any given scene in that film. So, oh, the villain has total control of all the infrastructure in the city, and he needs to stop a car from moving. So he turns lights green and hopes that traffic hits it, as opposed to just turning lights red. Then he gets crushed by a Pepsi sign because they paid money for that.
Sorry for repeating this, but you have to watch the movie in the frame that it is a porno with all the setup and none of the payoff. And if you watch it like that, it's hilarious because that's what it is.
You notice the one movie that's conspicuously absent from this is the original Wonder Woman as well, because like that was pretty well
They
received.
forget about that one very conveniently.
Yeah.
Right? You know, even
Because-
when Catwoman came out and flopped, and that was like made for women. The baddie was like a makeup executive or CEO of a makeup company.
Sharon Stone, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sharon Stone.
Played
Nobody
into
was
Chicago.
saying that. Nobody was saying you just hate women. No,
Yeah.
I'd watch
Well,
Catwoman before I watch Supergirl.
That was pretty funny.
Damn right, yeah. But yeah, there is this article here that I saw that I had to bring up to you guys. We'll see if I can share it here because apparently we are all sexist and misogynist just for not liking this movie. There's no valid criticism to be had with it. It's just
Listen,
you hate women.
two things can be true. Okay, we can not like the movie based on what it's like, and then be sexist and misogynist.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Supergirl didn't fall. She burned up entering the manosphere. So it's a bit of a
Can you scroll
longie.
a
So
little bit. I just want to appreciate Perry's thumbnails a little more in Az's. There in the background. Then they put Angry Joe in. And then they said women can be misogynist too. There's Jester Bell.
Yep.
Famous
Oh, it covers
misogynist.
that. I don't know because I've seen like an animated version of like that sort of feral child going to the movie theater and like giving a thumbs up and stuff, which is like watching. I don't know how they did it. It looks amazing though. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, it went. Supergirl opened this week to disastrous box office numbers, but its fate was sealed long before that, and it has very little to do with the quality of the film, sure, or the performance of its cast. I would argue it has everything to do with those things, but anyway. Yeah, the second offering in James Gunn's DCU didn't burn up on its entry into theaters. It was killed by 1,000 kryptonite darts in the weeks and months preceding by an increasingly crowded YouTube landscape of monetized fandom that is in every facet of other media now runs on vitriol and negativity. Supergirl became its latest and most predictable target. Yeah, Millie Alcock was dogged from the moment her casting was announced, with a disturbing amount of venom hurled at her physical appearance, something that's reached a zenith since the film's release. Add to that a female screenwriter in Ano Nogueira, along with rabid disdain for Gunn's supposed woke agenda from aspiring alpha male online gatekeepers. And from the beginning, the manosphere was simply not going to allow it to succeed. Now, I do have to pick up a couple of points they make here. I think people criticized Ana Nogueira because she'd never worked on anything before ever, and she was suddenly put in charge of a $200 million movie. You have to understand that's going to raise a few eyebrows.
Okay, but
surely.
have we ever criticized a single male writer for anything?
No.
Never.
Never.
No.
Never.
Also,
Interesting, isn't it?
Our love for Ryan Johnson and Dave Filoni, it's well documented. Those guys are amazing.
Anna Nogueira, as drinker, as you know, she wrote a short in 2018, and she wrote, excuse me, another movie a few years back called Batgirl. She punched up the script on it, so she didn't write the whole script.
Yes,
But
you did point that out, yeah.
she punched up the script on a canceled movie. So that was her previous experience, a canceled superhero movie.
That is the kind of rock-solid performer that I would go to if I needed a movie to succeed. What's this stuff about Gunn's woke agenda? Like, when has anyone accused James Gunn of being woke? The worst thing we've accused him of being is shit. And a played-out one-trick pony. I never saw him as being woke.
Well, they don't know who they're talking about, and I guess this guy's going. If you go check his Twitter account, you'll understand who he is pretty easily. But
just for reference, guys, it's John Pavlovitz.
Yeah, go. When he's not railing on about TDS or whatever, he jumps in on this, and I think he's just paying attention to X. Obviously doesn't watch any of our videos where we basically, God, the only time I've accused him of doing it was this movie. Which it definitely, woke isn't the right term, it's a broad term. It's filled with intersectionalism and intersectional feminism. 100%.
It does go on here. Alcock especially has been hounded by criticism over her physicality, probably something to do with the fact that she's 5'2" and doesn't seem to have done any training for the role, and her perceived lack of enthusiasm on the press circuit. That's a weird one. I don't know if she's enthusiastic. She's drunk.
She said, so she was asked a question. She's been asked a bunch of very baity questions, and like she doesn't have a huge amount of experience in press junkets, and so is given some silly answers. Actually, I thought it was one of the best answers she gave was when she was asked, like, what female-led superhero movies have you seen? And it turned out she'd never seen Captain Marvel. She'd never seen Wonder Woman 84. She'd never seen basically all of the really shit female-led superhero movies that you're expected to have seen if you are playing a female superhero. She'd never seen them. And I thought, no, that's a really good answer, actually. Because, like, well done. You managed to avoid them, and you may have, avoided some bad lessons by doing that. But I thought the backlash came when she was baited into saying other things. It wasn't to do with a lack of enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I tried to, like, I did defend her in my video that I just made about this, saying, like, I don't think she's a Rachel Zegler type of person. I think she was, as you say, baited into answering an awkward question and gave a very, like, rough, stumbling sort of answer because she didn't know what to say, but she also didn't want to piss off the interviewer, because to say, nope, there's no queer representation in this movie, you're a fucking idiot, like, that's clearly not going to go down well either. So she tried to, like, walk that very fine line and didn't do a great job, and I don't think that's her fault. That's just poor media training and giving her the wrong kind of people to interview her, really. I think that's on the studio if anything else, but suddenly Variety and all the other trades are leading with that headline when it's like an off-the-cuff remark as part of a much larger interview, which I think is really shit on their part.
Especially, they didn't just lead with it. So, like, there's a whole interview. The interview itself is kind of interesting and makes her seem kind of nice. She's not connected, doesn't have industry friends or anything like that. Grew up washing dishes, lived in a tiny attic bedroom, did her audition tapes from there. And it's like, this is a good human story, how somebody comes from, basically nothing and starts leading franchise stories. Variety then makes its headline the one question where she's like, what do you make about, like, the backlash against female heroes? So she gives like a one-sentence answer. That becomes the headline. They not only tweet that out the one time, they retweet it again and again and again. And then they say, oh my goodness, where's the backlash come from? I think the backlash might have been engineered by you guys, actually, you scummy media people.
That's exactly how it goes down. And Dean Cain told us that these actors are trained, but not by their agents, by the producers and the marketing people at the studio. So if you want to put the ultimate blame on anybody, it's them for putting her in that position during Pride Month, and what kind of question she's going to get. Not the best answer in the world, and I contrasted that with Matt Smith's answer when he was put up, like, trying to, like, blame the fans for any backlash of House of the Dragon, which it's going to be a lot more this season, promise you. But and Matt just said, hey, no, this is for the fans. Once we're done making it, it's for them. That's the right answer. So she needs to learn from her former co-star, because there is a way to evade these questions pretty easily.
Well, yeah, isn't it interesting how the different personalities play into, like, how they handle questions like this? You've got people like Matt Smith and probably Henry Cavill as well, like the example I've given before, where he's baited into, like, talking about toxic Witcher fans, and he's like, no, I don't see it as toxicity, I just see it as passion, and it's really important that they have their opinions about this stuff. Two people who just handle it in a really slick way and, like, do it without offending the interviewer but turn it towards a positive outcome. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got someone like Brie Larson who's tried to bait her into a question about Johnny Depp opening up, like, I think it was the Cannes Film Festival or something, and she's like, why are you asking me? Like, what do you expect me to say about that? Just a very blunt, like, no, I'm not going to engage with this kind of response, which again is the personality of someone who's not very slick at handling, like, the nuances of interactions like that. And then in the middle, you've got someone like Millie Alcock, who's just this, like, very enthusiastic, naive young actress who's getting her first taste of mainstream attention and doesn't quite know how to handle it, and gives, like, these slightly unrehearsed, awkward answers that can be cherry-picked for, like, unfortunate quotes. And it all, it just depends on how these people handle it. But they've all got their own way of doing it, and some are better than others, unfortunately.
Well, at least she didn't fall. Oh.
I think they'd get better with experience because Cavill has been making films for over 2 decades, and she was baited into it, and it's almost a damned if she does answer, damned if she doesn't. But I think her manager and the studio, at the very least, should have just told her to say that Supergirl is aspirational for everyone.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't piss anybody off.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, at least she didn't fall into the Leslie Headland, which Star Wars she likes.
Yeah, I love all of it. Yeah, so I'll carry on here. YouTube accounts such as Nerdrotic Daily, never heard of them, and Geeks and Gamers, not familiar, whose stable of mortally insecure, insufferable incels have been amongst those most ruthlessly attacking the actress in an effort to grow their already massive viewership. You got massive viewership, Gary.
Hey,
it's good.
Thanks.
Among other easily lured young men weaned on conservative sexism and toxic masculinity.
Listen,
Can't keep a straight face reading this.
yeah, it's not conservative sexism. It's just sexism, okay? Let's
Just
not,
a regular
let's not
kind.
pigeonhole it, all right?
You could be a liberal sexist as well, I
Yeah.
think. It's fine. Yeah, weirdly, he's like, there's the legions of perpetually lathered up, zealous Zack Snyder fanboys who've been sitting vigil for the last couple of decades and want so desperate for the DCU to fail so that they can once again work themselves into a public frenzy to restore their beloved auteur to the lofty place they believe he alone deserves. That's wild that he's bringing up Snyder Bros. That's fantastic.
Who have been quiet for most of this. We see something here and there, but they've been pretty quiet. I think they were just sitting back going, told you so.
Here's where we get into like the mental gymnastics, though, because when women criticize this movie, then it creates a problem because you can't just immediately accuse them of being like insecure men. But here we go, he's going to try. Plenty of female content creators gleefully joined in the incessant crap hanging over the past few months, proving that it isn't just the guys who are capable of manufacturing misogyny or being driven to corrosivity, I never heard corrosivity before, by declining revenue streams in oversaturated spaces. To curry the favour of their largely male audiences, many women in these spaces have face-shamed Alcock with juvenile AI-generated caricatures. So
Is this a man denying the agency of a woman? Is that not
exactly.
sexist?
They're not allowed to have their own opinions, or they are, but only when they agree with him.
Did he say
If they disagree with him, then suddenly they're just pick-me's, I guess.
Did he say manufactured misogyny?
Yeah,
Heard that right?
I take issue with that because it's
Yeah.
not manufactured, it's authentic.
You feel this way. Well, I don't want to say we. Yeah, we.
These
Oh,
words
I'm
confuse
gonna
me.
speak for all
Is
of us.
something manufactured in like a factory not authentic, though? I mean, you work really hard on it. We
Yeah.
worked on our misogyny for decades. It's very,
We've been busting our ass
refined.
being the misogyny.
But yeah, here we go, because like it waffles on to a quite absurd degree, but yeah, Supergirl is a perfect example of how toxic content creators have ruined the experience of anticipating and seeing a comic book movie, spewing out a steady stream of negativity, speculation, rumor mongering, and doom forecasting. Well, to that I would say, welcome to the internet, sir.
Yeah.
That's kind of what people do.
And when
They
it comes
talk
to
about
when it comes to this
movie
movie,
releases?
Drinker, like we were right. Like it's pattern recognition. We've seen this
Yeah.
before.
yeah.
Also, they should thank the toxic people. If not for them, there'd be no one talking about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there'd be particularly no women talking about them. So that's the other thing. Is like, so all of this is either toxic online right male chuds, or it's women who are pick-me women. And this is the reason the movie's bombed. The movie goes out of its way, and like all of its marketing deals are geared toward, we want women under 25 to go and see this movie, and they amounted for 15% of the audience. Is that because of us too, or is that like their internalized misogyny? Why didn't women show up? Because it's a women movie, and they say that that's what they want. So like, is it really us to blame?
It's like Charlie's Angels all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, straight white men, this movie's not for you. Why did straight white men not go see this movie? It's like, well, no one saw it, as it turns out. But like, I think, because I tried to talk about this in my video about it, like, your understanding of box office performance for comic book movies has to be based on the understanding that these movies are primarily for men. That is the audience. Women can absolutely enjoy them, and they do. in large numbers, but the main target audience is always going to be men. You go to a Comic-Con, it's like 80-20 in favor of men in terms of attendance. That's just how it goes. Men and women tend to have different interests, and we're not against the idea of female superheroes. In fact, we like them if they're well done. Wonder Woman being a good example, where you have a very attractive actress playing a quite likable character, not a particularly talented actress in terms of range, but it doesn't matter because she looks great. And the movie doesn't spend its entire runtime shitting on men, the target audience. It generally treats them with a degree of respect. And that's all guys ask for in order to enjoy a movie like this. But if you're not willing to do that, well, wait and see what happens. You'll get The Marvels, or you'll get Birds of Prey, or you'll get Wonder Woman 1984. You know, it's inevitable, unfortunately.
And these people keep getting work. You know, Christina Hodgson still getting work is unbelievable. What was the quote? Oh, you're gone. Is like, she's written great scripts that we haven't seen, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Christina Hodgson.
It's going back.
It is going back, but James Gunn said something to the effect of, she's written great scripts that we haven't seen.
Yeah,
okay.
Even in it was in the context of like, yeah, you may think the film that was made from it was shit, but
yes,
the script itself, you know.
He said the director came in and screwed it up. Well, what are you, James Gunn? The fact of the matter is, this was the most predictable failure of the year. Everybody knew it. It's just, the only thing that was surprising is how much it failed. I was a sweet summer child and overestimated it. Credit to Mahler, who, you still overestimated its box office, but you were the lowest. You said 260 million worldwide.
Capped it at 40%.
Yeah.
Which,
I was
way
a
too
wild optimist. I hedged my bets and I went for like 400. I was such an idiot. I had no idea how bad this was going to get. But when we talked about, like, you know, you mentioned the intersectionality of this film. What I see it as is an intersection of three things, ultimately. It's superhero fatigue, girl boss fatigue, and James Gunn fatigue. Those are the three factors which really intersected in this movie to fucking kill it. I think we're tired of all of those things.
Women fatigue.
Just because, you know, regardless of whether or not you see Supergirl herself as a girl boss, the fact is we've had so many bad experiences over the past decade or so, and it is pattern recognition. You're now trained to treat any character like this with a pretty heavy degree of skepticism, and that's where it's landed. You know, it's almost scuppered the chances of any female-led superhero movie or action movie of that nature, because we've had so many bad experiences with this over the years. What else do you expect? And
And the trailers made it very clear. Well, the trailers misled to the audience about what the movie was going to be anyway, because the trailers give you the impression that that is exactly what this movie is, that she is a decadent, deconstructive party girl who, like, basically endorses pissing on Superman. Imagine putting that in your trailer. That's not a great look. It's not actually the character they're trying to write, but most people don't know what character you're trying to write. Their first opinion of the movie is going to be by the marketing materials you give them. The marketing materials basically said that this is something that is going to appeal to young women because it's kind of extolling that sort of lifestyle. Nobody wants to see that. Mothers don't want their daughters to see that particularly. That's why they don't show up. Men are kind of bored of being told that standards for women are sexist, but standards for men are too low. That sort of hypocrisy pisses people off as well. They kind of want a bit more of an uplifting, traditional style story. The fact the movie tries to give you that, it's really bad, but it tries to give you that, is irrelevant if you put everybody off even giving the movie a chance, which is what they did.
Yeah, the whole message from that movie from Alora was, you be good, but you don't have to be nice. You don't have to be polite. Be good. That is not something that you could apply to a male character in any superhero movie. Male characters have to walk on eggshells, almost be insecure. That's what they've done to Clark. That's what they've done to Superman. They take away his confidence and his aura, really. So he makes people feel safe all the time. So you can apply it. Women can be messy and drink. I mean, they just gave her a male role, right? That wasn't even in the terrible comic book that they adapted.
I think what you're seeing,
but not as much.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing with all of these type characters, same with, say, Captain Marvel with the legendary Dawn when he tells her to smile and she like breaks his arm. It's this whole backlash against the perceived expectation that women should be pleasant, or that they should be amenable or accessible or whatever it might be. And so it's a rebellion. And so they go this so far the opposite direction that they just make them into horrible people. And it's, you know, it's missing out the reality that there's a very understandable, like, evolutionary reason why women are supposed to be more agreeable is because they're less physically dominant than men. And, like, if they start trying to throw their weight around, they'll come off worse ultimately, and so they have to be that way, and that's why they've evolved that way. But like, this is now trying to upend that, and as you say, turn them into asshole men with boobs, and it doesn't work. It's never going to work. You're trying to make them into something they fundamentally can't be.
I think as well, like the Tom King's comic isn't great. Nerdrotic could probably attest to that, but the adaptation fundamentally misunderstands the moral message at the end of the movie, because the comic is basically True Grit in space, and Ruthie is like the emotional center, and Kara's this warrior figure who reshapes the girl's journey and ethics over months of traveling. It's not a 3-day adventure. It's this cosmic journey into multiple planets where they see what Krem has done with the brigands, you know, mass murder, genocide. And at the end, what's her face? Ruthie doesn't kill Krem, and neither does Supergirl. In fact, they imprison him in the Phantom Zone for centuries, and he eventually regrets his ways. He seeks forgiveness after release. He begs Supergirl and Ruthie to forgive him, and they just leave him there. And so the message at the end of the story is sort of like violence begets violence, and that is completely undermined by the ending of this movie.
Yeah, well, it's like, no, violence solves all problems, because ultimately, no man, no problem, and that's, you know. I honestly would like a movie to take the more refreshing route of like, hey, revenge can actually be awesome at times. If it's well done and it ultimately means punishing someone who's done a horrible thing to you.
Every stupid fucking attempt at this story we've been having lately is always like, revenge bad, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll entertain it. What's the context? It's like, rape Hitler. I'm like, no, I think it's good on that one, actually. We're fine. And it's like, well, you can kill 1,000 people, but not the person that is the personification of your vengeance, what's done wrong with you. It's like, I don't understand what you... What?
Yeah, I mean, it's... If someone, say, murdered your entire family and you had the opportunity to kill them in return, I think you would. And if you could get away with it, you'd be like, yeah, I did that and I feel great about it. No compunctions there whatsoever. Like,
you kind of need that... I hesitate to fucking reference this in this context, but you kind of need that raw honesty of, like, Iron Man saying, I don't care, he killed my mom.
Yep.
Like, I just don't care. I don't care about you saying, oh, it'll follow you for the rest of the life. I don't care. I don't care. Why would I care?
Yeah. Yeah, as someone pointed out, law-abiding citizen, boy, does he take his revenge.
That film's fucking ending sucks. But
yeah.
like, up to that point,
But
yeah,
up until that point, it's great.
Also, someone mentioned Sicario. That is some fucking cold revenge, dude.
That is some good stuff.
You know, if I can just go back to like, if we go back to the 80s, like Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, they made her what she was, and it attracted a lot of people. Buck Rogers in 25th century, you had Erin Gray. You know, I watched that show for her pretty much, but you know, you get those, you know, those. It was pretty much easier in the 80s how they did things compared to they do them now.
The example that I think gets overlooked quite a lot because it's ultimately from a TV show is Samantha Carter from Stargate SG-1, who I think is a great example of like a well-written female character who doesn't take any shit, but also she doesn't act like a complete bitch who's just out to like prove herself better than everyone else around her. She's actually like very supportive of her teammates. She works well as part of the team. She takes orders when she's supposed to because she's, you know, she's junior to O'Neill. but also she offers solutions, she offers ideas, she's compassionate. A really well-written character, and it's like, you can do it. You can create these well-written female characters that are strong, but don't have to be. They don't feel the need to constantly prove it to the audience, because they credit the audience with a bit more intelligence than that. But that's a different era of writing, unfortunately. We don't get that anymore.
No. They're
Well,
not allowed to. I mean, the Bechdel test is gospel to them, and which is hilarious because the person who created the Bechdel test said it was parody. It was supposed to be a joke. It was not supposed to be taken seriously.
Are there any movies that have failed the reverse Bechdel test, and are any of them any good?
What, in like there's no men in it that have?
Well, there's never seen between more like two men or more, and they never discuss anything other than a woman or whatever. I guess that would be the reverse. Has that ever been achieved by a movie, and was it ever any good? The movie?
Oh, say Lord of the Rings. Not really.
No, yeah, the reverse of the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so men not talking about a woman.
Yeah, like, do we
okay.
ever have a movie where there is never at least a scene with two men talking about something, and whenever they do, they're not talking about just a woman?
I have to think about that.
Because
Yeah,
not
I
even
can't think
even
of it.
Barbie passes that sort of test, right? Because I think.
Would you class that as a good movie, though?
Well, no, but I just mean like very few
The
movies
Thing?
don't pass it. No, that's
Yeah,
not.
but
That's
like
the regular Bechdel test.
That's okay.
Yeah, so we'd almost like need a version of
I'm
the thing
confused.
where everyone in it is a woman.
Yeah.
Basically.
How many movies are there? What about women talking? Has anyone seen that?
Fuck no. Fuck that.
Chris
How would you
Gore has.
want that?
No.
We got nothing.
Yeah, everyone keeps suggesting movies that pass the like not the Bechdel test, the reverse,
The
of it,
reverse
the
Bechdel
female
test.
version.
We're gonna have to call it the Mahler test or something. I don't know.
The point I'm trying to make
coin
is,
this one.
I'm just amused by the fact that of whole film history, we can't even think of like when they would have done that. And even if they did, it would probably be pretty, I imagine, pretty awful.
I think what you're saying is like, basically, films need men in them to be good. That seems to be your
Yeah, that's what I'm
this
getting
one,
at.
Mahler.
Wasn't there a female version of Ocean's 11?
Yes, Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
Whether you
Oh,
consider
wait,
that good is
Drinker.
debatable.
Does The Descent have a scene in it with more than just one guy?
No. No, it
There you
doesn't.
go.
There, you've done it.
Yeah,
Holy
and The
shit, you
Descent's a
found
really
movie
fucking
that's
good
passed
movie.
it.
So
Yeah.
we did it.
It can be done.
Not bad, guys.
Yeah, as a
He's
a reference to
self-censored.
that, yes. Like, if you haven't seen The Descent, and I think there might be more than one movie called that, but this is like the 2004
Neil Marshall.
movie. Yeah, it's really fucking good.
Banger of a
and
movie, yeah.
actually, the female characters in that are pretty well written as well. It's a decent movie.
Well, I
like it.
dare say, without spoiling anything, they're pretty fucking bold with what they have some of the female characters do in that, in terms of flaws, in terms of
Yeah.
dynamism.
Yeah.
Would
Let me
it
answer a
pass
couple of
the
supers.
reverse-
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, would it pass the reverse Bechdel test? Because technically, two women are fighting over one man.
But they do have lots of conversations that don't revolve around men
Yeah.
That's
in the
fair.
course of it, so I think it's okay. It probably does pass the reverse. Let me answer a couple of supers just before I move on here. Yeah, Echoes of the Ancients. It was great to meet you in the cast and director of your movies in Toronto. The movies were very enjoyable to watch, and I appreciate the fact that you picked a theatre that served good beer. They served good beer, yeah. They actually served good Negronis there as well. I was quite impressed by them. Cole bought me like 5 of them throughout the night. That's why I was so plastered by the end. But it was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was good to meet you, and I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. The remaining people defending the crap writing of both Superman's James Gunn and Supergirl is sad. One said the Jor-El message was great writing since it made John Kent's character look better. John Kent wasn't even a character in that fucking movie. He's-
No. And dude, tracking the fucking goalposts for that stupid plot point has been insane. Because you guys can all remember, I assume, it was like, no, it's fake. It's fake.
Yep.
It's fake.
So many people said
James
it.
Gunn.
That James Gunn had to do whole interviews saying,
Yeah.
no, it's not fake. I meant it. I put everyone in the movie telling you that it's real.
Read the room, James. You should have just taken this opportunity to be like, yeah, I faked you out on this one. It wasn't real. You know, because clearly everyone hates it.
Too
but
late
nah,
now.
he's sticking to it. He's sticking to it.
Now, in order to get rid of it, you have to have Brainiac convinced all of the people of Krypton, it was true, even though it wasn't. It's like, okay.
I just received my copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth to replay over the 4th of July weekend. I've been on the fence on getting into the series and decided to go for it. Also made sure to get physical copies, because fuck Sony, physical forever. Yeah, well, enjoy it a lot, because I certainly did, and I'm looking forward to... oh, what's it going to be called? It begins with R next year. Revelations, that's it. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Revelations. Not retard. But yeah, physical copies, it does obviously bring me on to... Sony have decided from 2028 onwards they're no longer going to sell physical discs, and it's just going to be downloads only. So yes, you will own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah, industry's going to follow suit on that, and that's coming to an end, folks, on physicals for games.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate what it's going to lead us to, because it's not just going to be, you know, downloads of games. It's going to be constant live service. It's going to be them removing games whenever they feel like it. Remember that PT demo? That was awesome. And then they decided they didn't want people to have it anymore. You can, like, it just got wiped from people's hard drives if you were in any way connected online.
You have to buy like a PS3 that downloaded it at the time that then went offline on eBay.
Yeah.
Like that's the way you get access to it. It's fucking crazy.
And these are the same people that deleted, what, 500 odd movies from their catalog. Even if you bought the movie
make no
and paid
mistake,
for it, it's gone.
Movies will be next. Like other industries will be following suit. They'll be like, we're gonna round up doing physical stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, this is just gonna be beneficial for people like Sony or companies like Sony. It's just a lot of cost and infrastructure they can just drop, and people will buy digital.
Stock price actually increased slightly on the news. So yeah, I mean it's a massive. I mean, unfortunately, that tells you that the audience is leading it though, because if the costs were such that there was a big enough audience to justify the continued sale of physical, it was actually a proper revenue stream because everybody wanted it and bought it, they would not be doing this. And the fact that they've seen it as a cost benefit to remove all physical, remove all the production costs that's associated with, the stock price increases as a result, and the backlash is confined to gamers online, but not evidently the general audience, tells you that unfortunately this is just what most people are fine with. They are happy just downloading stuff.
The writing was on the wall, unfortunately, once you had like the whole idea of like day one patches and updates and stuff. Because once you go down that road, you've got one foot in the grave basically, and it's like now you're at the point where you can't just at some unforeseen point in the future just put the actual original disc in and install it and expect to play it, because it's going to need like a dozen different patches in order to work, and if that server's offline at that point, you're fucked. It's gone anyway.
Yeah,
so
Dream,
like,
did I tell you, the fucking Bond game, like you need to be signed in and online, and I didn't even know what the benefits were, and then every once in a while I was playing the game, it would just pause everything and be like, you've disconnected from the Bond verse, you need to reconnect. I'll just be like,
and it's
why? Like, what the fuck?
What is it about that constant reassurance that it needs in order to just work? Yeah, I hate it. And I honestly hate where gaming's going.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? This is just the fucking 10 billionth fight that we're going to lose, unfortunately, over the course of several decades. So they've just chipped away a lot of the soul of gaming.
Well, you know, what you're going to get is like...
there might be some good that comes out of it in that. So the next generation of consoles is going to cost roughly the same amount as a low to mid-range gaming PC. On PC, it's already predominantly download only, but you do keep the rights to anything you buy. Anything you play on Steam is yours. You can copy those files off to a safe hard drive. You're never going to lose them. If Steam disappears forever, you've still got the games. What's the incentive to buy a games console at all if it costs the same and you get less out of it? So more people might just move to PC, which is better for anyway. Well, yeah, but then like, how many of those have there been that have been worth playing in this entire console generation?
My man, I wish that would what stopped people from picking them up anyway.
It was, yeah, because the allure of consoles was always the convenience of it, right? You don't have to worry about compatibility issues, hardware upgrades, whatever. It's just a thing that's like you plonk it down and it's ready to go. Obviously, what we've got over the years, like consoles have moved closer and closer to PCs to the point where it basically is just a PC with a stripped down operating system. That's all it is. And you're getting more and more of the complexities that come with PC gaming, like the updates and the patches and stuff that have to be done. Yeah, there's a degree of automation there, but it's still stuff you have to consider. And so yeah, maybe it'll drive more people to PC gaming now because it's like, well, we're close enough that I just don't care. I'd rather make the leap. But I mean, it's sad that that's where into.
The next big console exclusive, and basically the only one that anyone's particularly interested in, is obviously going to be GTA 6, which is a game that is too big to do physical media for. It would take 5 discs to run on an Xbox. They're not going to do that. That's just silly. So unfortunately, if you demand bigger and bigger and bigger games with better and better and better graphics, physical becomes more and more expensive to do, and less inclined are they going to be to do it. It's like, say, well, N64 cartridges went this way eventually because they had some advantages over discs, but the storage capacity was too small and they were really expensive to produce. I would like to have GTA 6 on 8,000 N64 cartridges because it would be funny, but it would be very impractical.
I do like how everyone's shitting on them online. Even Domino's Pizza is doing it. It's like it says here, in response to trends in the gaming industry, as of the 1st of April 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizzas and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Customers can download our full range of delicious pizza codes and, using the power of the imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense. It's like, oh, I respect that. They make shit pizzas, but man, they're cooking online. Like, afternoon. Over a week ago, I was at Walmart and saw McFarlane's Supergirl figures swarming the shelf, even the rare gold labels that were in great quantity. If that doesn't say anything about the film, cheers, lads. Yeah, haven't they taken down all the big like cardboard fucking things that you're meant to stand beside and all that? Like literally after the first weekend, it's just done, man.
They did in LA. And usually people want those things. Usually there's a waiting list, either employees or customers who want to take them home. And I guess that one wasn't worth it. And they just tore it up.
Yeah.
The Supergirl figures was marked for half price a day after the movie's release.
Let me do this one before I move on. Check out my first ebook, a Lovecraftian New York noir set in 1928 under the shadow of madness. A war-weary private investigator is investigating the ritual murder of a prostitute at a high clientele motel. How does that work? It involves the KKK and a mob and esoteric order of Dagon. I mean, sounds wild, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, check it out. So, under the shadow of madness. I do like a bit of Lovecraftian horror. It's always good fun like that. Anyway, I'll wait to go into this next thing. Let's see if I can share screen on this one. So you guys are familiar with The Rock. He's kind of a big deal, or at least he was. Maybe not so much in the past year or two, but he is under fire once again, but not by the audience. He's under fire from the likes of George Takei and Will Wheaton. I mean, truly a force to be reckoned with here. Dwayne Johnson slammed as a coward for staying quiet on politics. Star Trek icon George Takei, how is he still alive? Fires back, silence is complicity. So he's catching flack on social media after he told Esquire magazine this month that he will no longer speak publicly on politics, which is a really smart thing for any actor to do. Yep. I would encourage you all to follow his lead.
But, I mean, in relation to the other conversation we had, do you think there's he should commit to that as action, but not necessarily make that statement because it attracts controversy then, instead of just playing it cool?
Probably, but I guess he was asked directly about it. I'm not sure. Star Trek icon George Takei is one of the Hollywood voices criticizing his stance, writing on threads, silence is complicity. And then Will Wheaton, fucking always chasing clout, this boy. So disappointing to find out he is such a coward, replied Will Wheaton. Yeah, fucking say that to his face, buddy, and then see how that goes.
I don't know, it's also just funny because most of the statements someone like a Will Wheaton will make are the ones that he finds out are approved ahead of time. It's like, oh yes, the coward, I see.
I just want to point out that a statement made on threads about silence being complicity is in itself silence because nobody saw it because it's on threads.
That's true, yeah.
George Takei, as the great William Shatner calls him, is a day player. That's all he ever was. He's not. He might be in Hollywood. The only reason he gets any attention now is because of his politics. And the same for Will Wheaton, who used to drift on the nerd space, and then he went nuts. I remember when he left Twitter. He used to write just for Twitter at the time books on Twitter, if you guys remember, and on Facebook. And he's always been this way, and he's always been annoying. So 2 Star Trek actors who've done nothing with their careers afterwards want Dwayne Johnson to talk about politics.
It is funny that we're we talked about 1991 earlier, and I would argue that's the last time that both of these guys were actually relevant in Hollywood. But yeah, it says here, because he's promoting Moana right now, he's obviously on the press circuit. It says he regrets endorsing Joe Biden for president in 2020. I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
Yep.
Anyway, it says, my goal is to bring this country together. I believe in that. There will be no endorsement. At this level of influence, I will keep my politics to myself. It's between me and the ballot box. I mean, he has to get in a little bit of ego stroke in there.
God, he's not wrong. Yeah, but like to say it out loud, like, well, with my influence, I could tip the scales of an election. So
I'm so damn powerful. I'm basically the kingmaker right here.
But remember, too, The Rock was out there going hard for Biden when he was running. So
yeah.
I think if The Rock makes like a song, like Imagine or something, if he recorded like a song, that would change everything.
Yeah, we need another global pandemic so we can cheer us all up.
And the fact that The Rock destroyed G.I. Joe, he destroyed G.I. Joe, entirely. That's why I can't stand the guy anymore.
I had to bring it up. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yes, sir. I do like this quote from him here, though, right? Where he says, what I've learned through experience is that I need to need, not want, the main thing. And the main thing for me, the thing that's in the morning I swing my legs out of bed and run towards is creating. It's art, it's storytelling. I've learned I'm going to keep my politics to myself. There are moments when, hey, there's nothing we can't talk about. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Or if I feel like I got a leg up and this is the right way to go, I'll share it with you. Politics is omnipresent and it's forever. I don't hate it, I hate it at times. Okay? I hate the slinging. I hate all the bullshit that comes with it. And he's 100% right. Like, if you're an artist, concentrate on creating art. Don't concern yourself with politics. It's not your domain. You're probably not qualified to talk about it. Leave it alone. Now, with Dwayne Johnson, he's the master of saying what he thinks people want to hear. He's done it for his entire Hollywood career. The moment he gets the slightest bit of pushback on anything, he'll either retract or he'll pivot to something else. He's not big on, like, you're never going to see him do a Rachel Zegler where he's like, I'm just going to go down in flames with this political opinion, even if it's destroying my career. He will do what it takes to survive, but at the same time, I don't disagree with his stance on this one.
Although, I mean, again, he's feeling burned from his endorsement of Biden because, I mean, you guys have seen the video. It's so cringe and fake and awful and everything that's bad about Hollywood celebrity. So hopefully he learned his lesson, but the only reason he did is because it hurt his brand. Let's be real.
Didn't he try going back to WWE after endorsing Biden and then discovered that the pro wrestling fans are not necessarily big fans of Joe Biden? Surprise of himself, apparently.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Well, I think that as well, he's kind of morphed into this Hulk Hogan figure where it's like you're way over the hill for wrestling, but you just refuse to leave the limelight. And so every few years you'll show up and insert yourself into like a major storyline because you're that big of a deal that you can just do that. You've got clout, but like you haven't earned it. And so everyone just kind of gets pissed off with him because he's now just throwing his weight around. And yeah, it didn't work out for him too well for various reasons.
He made a mistake. Not that he would have been great, but he made a decision in his career not to do like Arnold Schwarzenegger rated R action movies. He wanted to do more family-friendly action movies, basically. And that's where he should have gone. He should have gone into the hyper-violent rated R, like, saving some kids from some child traffickers kind of movie. That's
that wouldn't play in Hollywood.
Well, it is now. They do now. They've recently discovered that there's child trafficking, like in the last couple of years. Yeah, after ignoring it and being its best clients for 20 years, they've
but you can see how they'll portray it. Like, if it's terrorism, it'll be white guys. If it's child trafficking, it'll be white guys. It's like, well, okay, sure.
How many different ways can we make white guys the bad guys?
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of interesting, though, that they made Citizen Vigilante available free on Twitter for like 48 hours. And it's blown up. Like, it's somehow become like the most culturally relevant movie of the year. And you're not supposed to see it. And it's a fucking UV Ball movie.
Yeah.
And it's not a technically well-made movie in the slightest. UV Ball should not be a director. But it's tapped into the zeitgeist, I guess, and it's become like this underground hit somehow. And it's the Streisand effect in action.
Yes.
The more they try to smother it, the more it's like fanned the flames.
I know it's not the same, but it almost had that Sound of Freedom vibe because nobody was really talking about it until it finally blew up.
The difference being though, like Sound of Freedom is a relatively like technically well-made movie,
Yeah.
whereas this is a UV ball exploitation flick, 100%
Admittedly,
of the way.
what I'd say is probably his best film, but
Yeah,
That's a tough
Isn't
bar to
saying-
clear, Gary.
can't
the
see
it's
one-
kind of like saying
everyone.
this is the tastiest turd I've ever eaten. You know?
The fact that he had to go into one of his buildings and look at mold.
Yeah,
the mold is
it's
serious.
wild stuff. But yeah, like so. You guys, are you excited for the Odyssey? Christopher Nolan's
Less and less
Odyssey
every day.
because- it's like it's having that kind of effect on us. I think for
I'll
some
go on the
reason. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I'll go on the record, and I don't agree with Jeremy. I think this is gonna bomb.
You think it's gonna
Really?
bomb?
That's a bold
That's
statement.
my opinion. I'm not. The only movie I liked from him was the Dark Knight trilogy and Interstellar. So
We'll go for it. What's your argument? Why do you think it's gonna bomb?
I just think with the whole race swap, Zendaya, they're not appealing. And Matt Damon, I never liked him anyway, but he's just not an appealing character. That's, like I said, that's my opinion. I just don't think it's. I just don't think
How
it's
much,
going to be a good movie.
How much do you think Nolan's name is gonna pull it through though? Like for a lot of people, a lot of audience members, a lot of like normal people recognize Nolan, whereas a lot of films don't get that benefit these days.
I think the movie will be, in terms of critical reception, that will be divided, but it'll probably end up clearing 750 million. It won't do Oppenheimer levels, but like, I think it will do okay.
I wonder actually, because I
That's
wonder
barely
if Cole
breaking
might-
even, by the way.
Yeah, I
know.
wonder if Cole might be onto something with this one, because I think we talked about this before. Like Oppenheimer, if you remove that from the equation, right? We went back through Christopher Nolan's filmography. He doesn't like have a track record of like drawing mega numbers at the box office. Like when say we look at Tenet, that made 365 million.
That was during
globally.
COVID, though.
Yeah, that was
So
released
I'll
during
kind of
COVID.
include that. Dunkirk 549. I mean that's pretty respectable. Like it's good numbers, but it's not crazy or anything. Interstellar, that was probably the biggest outside of Oppenheimer. That was 770 million. So that's a good one.
Didn't The Dark Knight hit $1 billion?
Yeah, the Dark
Close
Knight
to-
Rises. Dark Knight Rises is his.
The Dark Knight
highest-
movies are a weird one, I guess, because like they're more trading on the Batman. And
I want to give him
name
credit for
rather
that.
than the
He
Christopher
built the
Nolan
Dark
name.
Knight trilogy. Like
Yeah.
it's not just Batman's name that gets him
And
that.
there was
Begins was, if you remember when it came out, Begins was like, oh yeah, it's a good movie. I
Begins
like
did
Batman.
okay
and-
at the box
yeah.
office. Yeah,
Dark Knight went crazy, and then Dark Knight Rises went crazy.
but it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He did build that up because there was no goodwill towards Batman movies after Schumacher's run in the 90s. Like nobody took Batman seriously, despite the work that Tim Burton did in the early 90s.
And that's what affected Begins.
Yeah.
It like I said, it did well. I thought it would do better, and I liked it a lot. So I'm like, wow, man, it's kind of surprising. The Memento guy did it, but I think outside of Batman movies, I think he's always been profitable. He's always been on time, and his budgets have been reasonable. Now this is his most expensive movie. It's $250 million. The marketing's going to be $200 million easily. So I think the break-even point's somewhere between 550 and 600 on this. Flop, man, I don't think it's gonna flop. Now roast me if I'm wrong on it, please. But like, I just don't think so. I underperform. Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
The subject matter is a bit of an unknown quantity because it's been a while since we've had this kind of historical epic along the same lines as the Odyssey. And so I don't really know what the appetite is for something like this.
I still think it's the most anticipated movie of the year because it's Nolan kind of going out of his wheelhouse and doing essentially fantasy, right? And can he do that because he's kind of he's a sterile director, right? He doesn't really do
Yes,
the
he is.
fantastical. His films aren't filled with levity or color. They're really well made. They're filmed on film, and I don't pray at the altar of Nolan, but Prestige is fucking awesome. Like, he's made some great movies. I love Memento. It's hard to bet against him because he's like the only real Hollywood movie star right now who can put butts in seats, and the pre-sales are pretty good. Nowhere near Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is killing it pre-sales right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on this one. The trailers are doing no favor, and I got to give credit to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. We were on the phone, and he's like, "They put a frame of Lupita Nyong'o in the trailer. It's going to get ratioed," and it got. It got ratioed. Like bad,
Yeah.
and it, I have to, like, Asmongold, it was getting there anyway, and then Asmongold did a clip on it, and it just shot through the roof. The power of Asmongold and the power of the Chuds.
I mean, that's an unfortunate, because I think this came from IGN, right? So they cherry picked some stills from the trailer
This is a
that they wanted to
troll
show
from them.
that was going to get people excited for it, and this is the other one that they picked.
Yeah,
mean-
they knew what they were doing.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh. A
So yeah,
character- character that's not even in the Odyssey, by the way.
Nope.
Sinon. Yep. That's an odd choice.
I mean, obviously we've seen the backlash to Supergirl, right? Partly because of, the press tour and some of the stuff that Millie Alcock said, which may have been misrepresented, but either way, it made it into the public consciousness, and it probably contributed to the film underperforming. Do you think stuff like this will have an impact?
A small one. I don't know how big in it. I think it will be more than countered by the appeal of Nolan, as has been mentioned. The fact that it's not just an historical epic; it is the Odyssey. Like, it's one of the kind of almost like the origin forms of story. There's so much in it which is so powerfully done that it's almost impossible to get it totally wrong. It might be a bad adaptation, but as long as the basic essential beats are there, it's so universally gettable that I think a general audience will still resonate with it. And I don't think most people who are not online really give that much of a shit about Elliot, whatever his name is, Page. This person, whoever it is, we do, because we know a bit more about it, and obviously it's our job to follow these things way more closely. The general public is a little bit bored of having trans stuff thrown in their faces, but I don't think that's what this movie's doing, and I think most people just won't even remember that this is a story about that. So it won't have helped the movie. I just don't think it's going to hinder it too much. I'd still say like 900 million to $1 billion would be a safe bet.
Really?
Unless it's really awful, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like I say, I feel like it's a bit of an unknown quantity, this one. I don't feel like there's much I can compare it to.
No.
With Supergirl, I think we knew, we had a rough ballpark of how badly it was going to perform. With this, I feel like it could be anything. Honestly, I don't know. Like you say, Gary, I think you mentioned, the pre-sales are tracking really well, so
Yep.
I guess that's a good sign. And then, yeah, I guess we're gonna find out, but
I wouldn't guess flop, but I simultaneously have no idea if it gets over like $1 billion or anything. It's like,
Yeah,
I've
and
seen-
like I said, I may be wrong on this, but this movie is just not appealing for a Christopher Nolan movie. So
Yeah, I mean, just
like I
on the
said,
trailer
me-
alone, it's not very appealing.
for me, yeah, it feels like Nolan is the wrong director for this kind of mythical, historical epic. Whenever I look at this trailer, I'm like, God, it's so bleak, it's so washed out, it's so. I get that his.
gray.
Yeah, I get that his thing is to try and ground these fairly fantastical concepts in reality. That's why the Dark Knight trilogy did so well. It's like, right, we've taken Batman and we've moved it out of the Joel Schumacher insanity into something that's much more believable in the real world. Okay, sure. And then when he's gonna do sci-fi movies, again, he grounds them in believable or at least understandable science that apparently is very, very well researched, which again I would respect a great deal. But with something like the Odyssey, where it's quasi mythological, supernatural, epic storytelling, I don't know. I want it to be elevated a little bit. I don't
yeah,
want
it
to
should be
just
Taika
see-
Waititi who does it.
Yeah.
Well, we've referenced Troy a lot of times, and like I'm not gonna hold that up as great storytelling from a writing point of view, but like the visual aspect of it, the casting of it, and so on,
Yeah.
I quite liked. Like those actors that they cast for those roles somehow lived up to that larger than life, you know, impossibly beautiful, impossibly like muscular or powerful or great warriors or whatever ideals that the Odyssey brings forth. This doesn't. This just feels like, okay, we're trying to make the Odyssey believable, but it's not believable. It's got gods and monsters and stuff in it. It's like those are two worlds that shouldn't really collide like this.
They should approach the Odyssey like Jason and the Argonauts. That would be fun. I think that would get people in the theater. Unfortunately, Ray Harryhausen isn't with us anymore. Legend.
Yeah.
But this one looks like we want to win awards, but I think it's way more than that. Like I've said before, I think it's Nolan didn't need to race swap anybody, and he would have still been up for awards. That still would have happened. This is reinforcing Hollywood's belief that he believes in. And it was just unnecessary. So this is a game he doesn't need to play. This is, you know, Taika Waititi needs to play that game. Christopher Nolan doesn't.
He's also shot himself in the foot with the modern translation that he's using for this movie, which features dialogue like "daddy" and even "tote bag," which is retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily
it was
Wilson.
all predicated on the idea that, like, you know, the mode of speech, which seems antiquated to us, wouldn't have seemed antiquated to the ancient Greeks who read it, because it was meant to be somewhat contemporary. And so, like, okay, let's replicate that by, like, making all these, like, modern-day terms thrown into it. But it's like, you're missing the fundamental point. It's not contemporary to us. It's an ancient Greek legend. So we want it to sound antiquated because that's the way it should be.
It's the tricky thing, because the dual purpose of her translation is it Emily? What was the name of it? Wilson. Emily Wilson. It was partially, as you just said, it's to, you know, try and make it as current to us as it was current to the people who first heard the story. But she did have a secondary reason for doing that as well. She wanted to kind of like demystify the masculine language of war. She wanted to take away some of its sense of poetic grandeur and reduce it to something which is much more, at the same time, sort of common and mundane and less celebratory. And I think that maybe misses the point of at least part of what the story is about. You know, it's supposed to be about ideals of glory, and men idealize warfare as a form of glory. You miss some of the magic of it, I think, if you strip the language away from it completely. But on the other hand, that might be maximizing the audience in the same way that diverse casting might, in Nolan's calculation anyway. Whether it works is a different question. He might be looking at it and thinking, well, you know, we've got a dead, locked-in fucking core audience who's always going to turn up for this. But just as he introduces Harry Styles to Dunkirk and then attracts a younger demographic than would naturally be interested in the movie, maybe he thinks, well, if I cast Lupita Nyong'o, maybe if I cast a whole bunch of other, like, race swap people, there's more diversity, I might get a larger, more broader audience, which is then also able to understand the language in a way that they wouldn't if it was kept in its kind of antiquated, highfalutin style. I would rather it had been kept in that style. I just think his calculation is he's making this for as large a demographic as possible.
It's a horrifying then prospect of, like, if this movie is massively successful, then what are you going to do? You're going to end up, like, debasing every historical epic to, like, the lowest common denominator of, like, right, let's put it into, like, Gen Z TikTok language.
Let's dumb it down.
Yeah, so the dummies can
idiots.
get it. Yeah, it's like, rather than them trying to elevate themselves to understand somewhat challenging movies and material, it's like, no, everything will come down to their level so that they can just consume the slop. And, like, well, where does that take us in terms of, like, casting? Are we going to have a remake of, like, Braveheart where William Wallace is a black